Yeah, I'd love it if you just walk us through. All right, so we're here with Dre. Dre, could you introduce yourself formally to our audience?
Yeah, absolutely, my pleasure. The sun is hitting here. Yeah, my name is Dre. I am leading the in-vehicle experience of Scout, and I'm happy to tell you more about what we call the community UX.
That's great. Well, we're really excited to learn about it. It's one of the features you guys have been talking about a lot lately.
That's true.
And really excited to actually see it. So just show us whatever you want to show us today.
Okay, so let's start by saying that when we look at vehicles in the past, we have seen many buttons in these vehicles, and there have been displays placed, but there also have been kind of disconnected. It was never really a cohesive experience, right? It felt like an afterthought in most cases. So then there was a time when we went to what I call digital first, where these massive screens took over the interior and all of these hardware buttons suddenly disappeared. That also wasn't really like the best approach. We missed the tactility, we missed the opportunity to adjust quickly by using hardware buttons in our IP rather than going through hidden menu on the screen. So it's now time to bring the balance, the middle ground to life, where physical controls, tactility really corresponds with digital interfaces. Now, when I'm talking about digital interfaces, look at the screen. These screens are integrated in our IP. They're part of our design language. They not feel like an afterthought and just popped in, right? It extends the color and trim story of our interior. You see like the UI matches really with all of those materials and colors. We see this dark blue, which does reflect the night sky and is a reminder of exploration and connection to the land. We see some amber aspects here, which almost looks like a campfire, and you have these, elements that you can see all over, and every time when we're talking about those things, it's like warmth, it's community, it's interaction. So I give you some more, let's say, tangible examples of what that really means. So let's look at the form factor of the screen. So it's a pretty wide screen. So the wide screen was chosen to optimize my reach zone. Me as a driver and also you as a passenger. Just imagine we would have a third person here. If the screen would be so small, we would not even be able to be reaching in, or it would be even covered, right? Now, we have one aspect learned, like even with this wide screen, I still have a hard time to reach over there. So that's why we're coming up with what we call a community user interface. So with a simple swipe, these roles in this vehicle can switch. I can become the DJ or you, and I am going to be the navigator. So if you want to be the navigator, then you take over the screen and use the map, right?
That's really important for folks that are off-road. We've been talking a lot about that today. We do off-roading. We were just doing it last weekend. And when you're on the trail, being able to access this as a driver is not a fun experience. And so you guys have really thought through, the different types of functionality for that scenario.
So how about we going in a off-road mode? Let me see if I can do this here. So I go and activate what we call auto, which is an
And you're
off-road.
doing this by your phone.
Well, I do this here in this demo with my phone because this is not an interactive steering wheel,
makes sense.
right? I can speak to it why it does make sense to do it that way. Maybe in a second, I want to just bring this up and start driving. So now if I engage the off-road mode, it activates automatically the front bumper camera, but it also activates, and it takes a little bit because it's streaming with our live connectivity video here, underbody camera views. So this is a prototype. I cannot change the prospection or the full screen or split screen section, but I will be able to do that in our production software.
Okay.
And we'll tapping it and bringing this the forefront. This is the forward facing and the backward facing underbody camera and the bird eye perspective, right? For off-roading, super critical because I want to know, are there any rocks, boulders or something, obstacles I want to overcome or see before I'm driving over those, right? So this is obviously a section or a, let's say an option you have as a driver. I'm gonna go into, I think I tapped here in the wrong section. So this. No, it's not doing it. I have to go to see if I use by hand. I'm gonna close this out. Oh, you know why? Because we are on the navigation. So this is now off. Let's see if this works. And again, this is a prototype. Right? So take that to.
One thing I'm noticing just in the graphic detail, so even just flipping through those modes, is everything's very subtle, very tastefully done from a graphic standpoint. Simple.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you. Yeah. No, obviously, this is part of the story, right? This alignment. You can even see how this off-road map now still matches with the interior color and trim, right? It still extends the story here, and it's not coming up like as an artificial afterthought.
Doesn't feel like a cartoon.
Exactly, it's cohesively considered. You see all of these little details, the alignment of hardware buttons on the screen, that I have the contextual menus corresponding to my hardware buttons, the aesthetic of the map, specifically tailored now for off-roading, which will include tail difficulty, elevation, and live weather updates, where our other maps are including real-time traffic and smart charging recommendations and so forth, right? This is all not relevant for off-roading, really. Speaking of it, I want to highlight our Harvester range extender. Very important for you also when you think of off-roading, right? Here, this is the what we call the energy app, where you can schedule and so forth, home charging. All of that is not necessarily new. We will celebrate the vehicle here. It has like a more emotional component. You can build this emotional connection to the vehicle, and you see your vehicle coming up here on the screen. It's going to be live rendered. You can change, obviously, your charge level. But what it also brings up back to the Harvester range extender, the dynamics controls. So you can hop in max. No, the battery will never deplete lower than a certain level, right? I can also go in EV only, turn the Harvester range extender off, and drive just on EV. There are certain applications, imagine like in homeowner association region where it's not allowed to drive a combustion engine vehicle anymore or whatever you can think of, or I go in an auto mode. Now the range extender kicks in only then when it's needed. So you never run out of power and can always go home. So that's basically the story about that. We have been talking about this emotional aspect, right? I want to give you another example. Let me get out of this drive mode here in a regular mode just so that we can focus a little bit more. In 1 second. So I choose, which I'm gonna use here, that's my selector, a different drive mode, okay? So let's say road, for instance. So what it does, it brings everything back to what we have seen before. We have our city map layout with this dark blue and a heritage-inspired driver display meant for off-road application. But you have seen how drastically the instrument cluster has changed for off-roading, right? So you saw the widget for pitch and roll baked in, cool feature. And here now I don't need that. I don't even need that as a widget on the road.
Right.
What I want to see is just the speed limit, and that's it, and have this beautiful, really decontent screen here. Now if I change into cruise control, let me try this here on my little app, because the buttons are not functional here. Steering wheel, and I engage now adaptive cruise control. Look what this screen does. It does dramatically change the layout. It's not only a tail coming up, it provides with a simplified bird eye perspective. Right? You see the vehicle in front of you to see how the distance changes and all of that stuff. You have widgets you can replace. So that provides a very clear mode awareness. You see the engagement level of the vehicle clearly in front of you because it's a different layout.
And I don't want people to miss this, but you've got 3 different speeds listed there at the top in this mode. So you've got your cruise control setting, your current speed, and then you also have the speed limit. And I've noticed that speed limit information is integrated very subtly, but in the right places depending on the visual.
Particularly on the heritage-inspired version, right? So if I turn this off, do you see that here?
Yeah, I did notice that.
So that is a nice contextual aspect, right? We're utilizing the software, we're utilizing what the screen is for.
Right.
You have seen these kinds of things on a mobile application. Why are we not able to do this in a car as well? So I think the desirability really increases if you have these similar experiences in the vehicle as well.
Yeah.
So now let me put that in ACC. So that is a L2 plus hands-free capability of the vehicle, right? So let's say I activate ACC. And ACA is what it's called, like level 2 is now available. So it's indicated here, I can activate that and choose to do that. Look what the screen does now. It goes in full screen situation awareness visualization. That is what it's called, right? You see all actors on the screen, and that's not the first time we're seeing that. But the difference is, it's not going to be displayed all the time, particularly not if you manually drive. Only then when it's needed. And it also helps here again to gain confidence in the system and think, this is clearly now the L2 plus mode, and I can take my hands off the wheel. It's not too confused with cruise control only. Different layouts increases the level of confidence regarding the engagement level, meaning the mode awareness for you as a driver is clearly indicated. Right? So very particular about that. I'm very passionate about this to bring this to life, because usually it's either done only this way and you see some telltales or color themes changing. That's it. And that really causes confusion for most drivers where they don't know, did I engage adaptive cruise control or even lane keep assistant and so forth? Yes or no? You're providing a tailored design for it. Speaking of that, imagine you drive long distance, you sit in a car, and you really want to be connected. You feel like it is all too much, even if I dim the screens. We have something which we call detox mode. Let me go in navigation first. I would like to show you a specific application here, okay? So I'm gonna pick something, okay? Let's go to Arizona, whatever. Now I go back into the detox mode. Look what happened. It decontents the screen. It shows you only the relevant information. It shows you how much you already gained on your trip, when the next charge is coming up, and your final destination. You can still use your HVAC controls without leaving this experience. And on the screen here, it's the same color theme. It's reduced colors. We bring up the warmth in the UI, which is part of our brand. So that is what we call community UX.
That's fantastic. So I absolutely love this.
Yeah.
There's just so many instances, especially at night driving, where you need a very simplified view in your screens that's not distracting or not overwhelming to the eye, and the driver can still see everything down the road. Really important. So I do want to ask a question right here with the little dial. We found this. We didn't really realize this was there when you guys initially launched the vehicle, but I hear that is potentially multifunction.
Yeah, we have still some flexibility there, and I'm ideating on conceptualizing around that, what to do with this.
About time.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
That's okay.
That is the volume button, and it's also part of the community UX. So you have access to it. I have my own. Particularly if you want to be the DJ, you can control that as well.
Okay, that's awesome.
It's so nice to meet you guys.
Thank you.
Really, thank you so much
Pleasure.
for your time.
Fantastic.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it so much.
Reach out to me or us. We have a package for you for all of this stuff. If this was
Fantastic.
too much reflection or anything, we have that for you.
It's okay. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
I'm gonna hop in the next call.
Okay.